People think fog is harmless. Just cold air, a little mist, a quiet road at night. But where I grew up, there was one warning everyone took seriously. If the fog starts moving towards you, don't wait, run. Because sometimes it's not the weather. I grew up in a small town surrounded by empty fields, narrow roads, and long stretches of darkness. During winter, thick fog would roll in almost every night. It covered the roads, swallowed the trees, and made even familiar places feel wrong. And there was one road in particular people always talked about. A lonely stretch of asphalt just outside town, running between dead cornfields and an old drainage canal. No houses, no lights, no traffic, just fog. People called it White Hollow Road. As a kid, I heard all kinds of stories about it. Drivers seeing someone standing in the middle of the road, strange figures appearing through the mist, cars breaking down for no reason. And the one story everyone repeated was this: if you see a woman in the fog, don't stop. I never believed any of it, until one night I had no choice but to drive through there alone. It was just after midnight. I was heading home from my cousin's place and my phone had already died. I was tired, annoyed, and low on gas, so instead of taking the longer highway route, I decided to cut through White Hollow Road. The second I turned onto it, I regretted it. The fog was so thick it didn't even look natural. It looked heavy, like smoke. My headlights barely reached 10 feet in front of me. Everything outside the windshield was just white and gray. So I slowed down. No music, no sound, just the tires rolling over wet pavement. Then I saw someone. At first it was just a shape in the distance, standing in the middle of the road. I frowned and leaned forward, trying to make it out. It looked like a woman, tall, thin, completely still. I flashed my headlights once, no movement. Then I tapped the horn, still nothing. That's when I started feeling nervous, because as I got closer, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Her feet weren't touching the ground. I slammed on the brakes. The car skidded slightly before stopping, maybe 30 feet away from her. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so hard they hurt. She was just there, floating. Long white dress, long black hair hanging over her face, her arms hanging loosely at her sides. But the worst part wasn't her. It was the fog around her. It wasn't drifting like normal fog. It was moving in circles, slowly, like it was alive, like it was wrapping around her. I should have turned around right then, I know that now. But when your brain is in shock, it doesn't work the way it should. I just sat there, frozen, staring at her through the windshield. And then she moved. Not walking, not running. She was just suddenly closer. 1 second she was 30 feet away. The next, she was maybe 10. I let out this sound I didn't even recognize as my own voice and threw the car into reverse. My tires spun on the wet road and the engine screamed. Then, bang! Something slammed into the back of my car, hard. I hit the brakes again and looked into the rearview mirror. Nothing, just fog, thick, endless white fog. And then my headlights flickered. Once, twice, and then the engine died. Everything went silent. Not normal quiet, the kind of silence that feels wrong, like the whole world had stopped breathing. And then I heard it. 3 slow knocks. Tap, 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 on the driver's side window. I turned my head so slowly it felt like my body didn't want me to look. And there she was, right beside me, her face pressed against the glass, her hair covering everything. She didn't move, didn't blink, just stood there, watching me. Then her head tilted slightly, and I heard a whisper, not outside the car, inside it, right behind me. A voice, low and shaky, whispered into my ear, "Don't let her in." I spun around so fast I nearly tore my seatbelt. The back seat was empty, no one there, but I know what I heard. And when I turned back toward the window, she was gone.
Completely gone. I didn't think, I didn't breathe, I just grabbed the key and tried to start the car again. Once, nothing. Twice, nothing. Third time, the engine roared back to life. I hit the gas and flew down that road like my life depended on it, because honestly, I think it did. I didn't look in the mirrors. I didn't slow down. I just drove. And then finally, I saw the glow of town lights ahead. The second I crossed onto the main road, the fog disappeared. Not slowly, not naturally. It was just gone, like I had crossed some kind of line. I made it home, locked every door, shut every curtain, and didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I went outside to check the car. There was a huge dent in the trunk, and on the rear windshield, there was a handprint, but not on the outside, on the inside. When I told my dad what happened, he didn't laugh, he didn't call me crazy. He just stared at me for a long moment and asked one question. "Did you hear a voice?" I said yes, and the look on his face changed immediately. That's when he told me the story. Years ago, a woman died on White Hollow Road after her car broke down in heavy fog. She got out to look for help and never came back. They found her body 3 days later in the canal beside the road, but what made people remember her was how they found her. She was sitting upright in the mud, facing the road, like she had been waiting for someone. Ever since then, people have claimed to see her in the fog. Some say she tries to get into your car. Some say she follows you home. And some say the only reason they survived was because something else was already inside the car with them. I didn't want to believe that part. I tried to forget the whole thing. And for about 2 weeks, nothing happened. No fog, no whispers, no nightmares. Then one morning, I woke up and looked out my bedroom window, and my whole yard was covered in thick white fog. It was still, silent, too still. And standing just beyond the front gate was a woman, motionless, waiting. And on the outside of my bedroom window, written clearly through the moisture, were 5 words.